Dear friends and space family, thank you so much for having connected for the second day of this IEC 2020, the Cyberspace Edition. I'm delighted to announce that as of today, we have reached the record number of 12,700 IEC 2020 registrations. But this is not the only record I can report to you. 20,000 times delegates have visited the booth in our virtual exhibition, and the 1,300 technical presentations in the online technical presentation gallery have reached 16,000 views in total so far. Really amazing. As we did yesterday, I would now like to recap the most important moments of today's program with IEF President, Professor Pascal Ehrenfreund, and two of our bureau members who have shaped today's exciting Industry Day program. Bruce Chesley, who is the IEF Vice President for Industry Relations and Financial Matters, and Clay Mowry, Chair of the IEF Industry Relations Committee and IEF Special Advisor on IEC Evolution. This year, the IEF Excellence in Industry Award was presented to Airbus. Let me start with you, Bruce. Can you share your impressions on the IEF Excellence in Industry Award ceremony of this morning?
Yes, of course. Thanks, Christian. And thanks to Clay and the entire Industry Relations Committee for putting on a fantastic program throughout the whole day, which we're discussing here. But just to cap the Excellence in Industry Award, you know, this prestigious award was offered this year and won by Airbus. And Airbus, you know, is a great global company, and they've had many historic firsts throughout the years. But 2019 was an especially extraordinary year, even for them, and the remarkable things that they always do. Just a couple of the highlights, you know, the hot fire of the Orion European Service Module, the ExoMars rover, the Solar Orbiter, you know, I was astonished to hear in the announcement from Dr. Jean-Marc Nazaire that the Solar Orbiter is plus 500 C on the hot side, and on the deep space facing side, it's minus 180 C. And, you know, just to be able to perform a design that can operate in those conditions is extraordinary. And then finally, of course, the exciting announcement that they have demonstrated the ability to generate gaseous oxygen from lunar regolith, and they're preparing to do additive manufacturing, you know, 3D printing on the International Space Station. Just a really exciting way to kick off another fantastic industry day, Christian.
Well, thank you so much, Bruce. Our plenary of today was focusing on small and medium-sized companies and their strategies for survival and recovery in the age of COVID-19. Clay, may I ask you to tell us what you took from this plenary?
Yes, thank you, and greetings from Washington, D.C. It was, I thought, a really tremendous plenary. We had a lot of exciting industry speakers there. Michael Sheets from CNBC did a terrific job moderating. In fact, Nobu Okada from Astroscale announced that they had just gotten another round of financing put in place for his company and their efforts. It sounded to me, the impression was that things are still moving and progressing despite the impact of COVID-19 around the world, around the globe, that the space industry continues to move out, and for the small and medium-sized enterprises, that they're getting the funding and able to push forward through this, which is a wonderful message that we're hearing and from all corners. So we had folks from the U.S., Europe, and Asia participating in this plenary session.
Thank you so much, Clay. As you all know, today's program foresaw 3 IEF GNF sessions. I would like to remain with you, Clay, to discuss one of those sessions, namely the one that was focusing on the Artemis mission.
We had a great session on Artemis. We were really excited to have Kathy Leaders join us from NASA to talk about how NASA is leading that Artemis program forward to go forward to the moon in 2024. It's an ambitious program. They're really leaning hard industry to push forward with integrated lander system and the various elements. I thought it was a very good exchange between Kathy and we had a representative from JAXA with Mika who did an amazing job leading the discussion, and Walter Cugno from Thales as well. And I won't forget my good colleague Brent Sherwood, who was there, came to us from NASA JPL to work in our Advanced Developments Program group, and is really pushing forward on this amazing system. And so it's a exciting time to be going back, or I should say going forward to the moon. And this panel did a great job talking about the challenges and partnerships involved to get that done, to get that accomplished.
Thank you again for your thoughts and remarks on this outstanding session. Let me continue with Bruce to recap the IEF GNF session on Orion, the foundation for crewed exploration of deep space.
Yeah, thanks, Christian. It was, again, another great global networking forum event focused on exploration. We heard an update on the Orion system, kind of an overview of the design and the elements of the Orion system. And then we got a status update on both the European service module as well as the main Orion capsule. And it's just really exciting to see flight hardware coming together, the level of collaboration and integration between the European and the US elements. And then there was a discussion from Kirk Shireman about how this Orion system lays the foundation for future exploration by reducing risk and reusing components and software for future human lander systems. It was really great to see both the progress towards the first launch of the Orion system on SLS, as well as the vision for the future of persistent, sustained human exploration and ultimately habitation on the surface of the moon. So yeah, really exciting GNF session, Christian.
Thank you so much, Bruce. The third IEF GNF session of today was titled ISS Commercialization and Future Industry Innovation in Low Earth Orbit. Pascal, what is your resume of this session?
Well, we'll celebrate 20 years of continuous human habitation on the International Space Station this month. And over 3,000 investigations from 108 countries have been conducted in the last decades. That's immense. So we all know that the ISS, the greatest projects in history concerning international cooperation in space, will likely not be available anymore in the next decade after 2030. So all panel members were united in stating that the ISS is a unique laboratory for research and technology development in an extreme environment, including microgravity. And on our way into deep space exploration, LEO, low Earth orbit, will remain a paramount element of the space ecosystem. And the transition phase has started, and the panel has actually discussed commercial ventures that are part of this phase. So Axiom Space showed its stepwise approach to offer a platform in low Earth orbit that will start by involving the International Space Station and subsequently act as a new space infrastructure for IS and future customers in the field of science, manufacturing, just to name a few. So their launch of the first all-private crew to the International Space Station is foreseen in October 2021. Airbus discussed their achievements with Bartolomeo platform, which is attached to the European Columbus model on the International Space Station. It is one of the newest payloads hosting platforms on the ISS and offers an all-in-one mission service. Airbus is also preparing new experiments in collaboration with other stakeholders for the ISS, like, for instance, the artificial intelligence facility Simon 2, and envisages upcoming opportunities in the low Earth orbit lunar ecosystem. And Japan Space BD company, which was founded in 2017 in order to bring commerce into space, and has a strategic partnership with JAXA. BD Space provides opportunities to perform experiments on the International Space Station using various facilities in and outside, and also offer services. So it's rather difficult to prospect the commercial market for LEO, but the panel discussed also the role of low Earth orbit in a lunar ecosystem scenario. When we go forward to the moon, we anticipate a sustainable and long-term presence, which will offer new commercial opportunities and experiments for low Earth orbit, being somehow a logistic element in a chain. So there is a lot to test in low Earth orbit, even for satellite technology, robotics, equipment for deep space, research and development for humans and astronauts. So this is a market for many space companies. That was the conclusion. There was a question from the audience about public versus commercial funding. And the answer was that government funding for instance, research experiments will still certainly play an important role. And in summary, commercial entities are preparing for a commercial ISS and post-ISS period, and later for a lunar ecosystem. And they see low Earth orbit as an important element in space exploration, and also international partnerships, of course, are crucial. That was also discussed. Was a very exciting panel.
Thank you so much, Pascal. During the cyberspace edition of the IEC, we tried to maintain many of the usual features of an IEC. Therefore, we also included a networking session into today's program with the theme Inspiration and Innovation, Public-Private Partnerships as a Catalyst for the Next Generation. Pascal, the inclusion of the next generation has always been in the focus of the Federation and is also a key element in our 3G diversity initiative. How did you like this virtual networking session?
Well, the panel consisted of many young space professionals from all over the world and working on really innovative, interesting projects, covering a large portfolio. They explained a little bit what they are doing. The main topic was the role of public-private partnerships, and the panel was arranged very interactively and answered mostly questions directly from the social media. So many of the panel members described public-private partnership as one of the best ways to drive innovation and new business models. All of them discussed the very fortunate time of proliferation of employers in the space sector, that so many new companies in the last years evolved in the space sector, and the possibilities to have frequent access to space and having so many launch providers. They also discussed that working interdisciplinary and with international partners is a key to success. And many of them mentioned how crucial networks are, how important it is to make connections for the success of new business ideas, even when they are drafted in a bar. And being interconnected all over the world is a great advantage, of course, for this next space generation. There was an extended discussion about the involvement of emerging space nations and non-spacefaring nations, and that more has to be done to engage them in future endeavors. That's also great that the next generation thinks about that. And it is great to see that the next generation of space professionals, which are the decision makers of tomorrow, is really very enthusiastic about the increased opportunities that commercial ventures and also public-private partnerships will bring as an innovation ecosystem, what they will contribute also to human spaceflight and deep space exploration. And I think it was very nice. They stated there is never a better time to get into space. So very enthusiastic young people.
Thank you so much, Pascal. And I fully agree with you. The second highlight lecture of the week focused on the success of the MEV-1, the world's first commercial on-orbit servicing mission. And let me now please come back to Clay. What is your opinion of this very interesting session, Clay?
Yeah, it was a fascinating overview of this amazing history-achieving docking that took place with Northrop Grumman's MEV system and the Intelsat IS-901 spacecraft. People have been talking about this kind of technology for decades, and the ability to do these kinds of on-orbit servicing maneuvers where you could do precision docking to a satellite, and in this case, extend the lifetime of that spacecraft by 5 or more years in orbit. So I know a number of our colleagues in the space industry will know how hard it is to do a maneuver like this, the type of sensors and capabilities, and then the capture that's required and the precision to do that kind of mission. And I thought Joe Anderson did an amazing job explaining what that looked like, and Brian Whedon was a wonderful interlocutor, and then they took some great questions there. It's a program I think Northrop Grumman's pushing ahead, and I know from my work in the commercial satellite industry, there's a lot of commercial satellite operators that are very much interested in this kind of technology to be able to take geostationary spacecraft and give them a life extension. Basically, if you've got a functioning satellite that's in orbit, be able to extend the life and not have to immediately launch a new satellite into that orbital slot if they want to keep accessing their customers and spectrum at that location. So it's really a game-changing technology, and it was wonderful to have Northrop Grumman with us to talk about the technology and exactly explain how the mission was conducted. So really a good add-on to Industry Day.
Thanks, Clay. Last but not least, Bruce, can you share your impression of today's NASA session on the international participation in the Artemis program?
Sure. Thanks, Christian. I mean, gosh, it was really a landmark session for Industry Day and for the IAF as a whole, culminating in the signing of the Artemis Accords by 9 countries. Leading up to that, Administrator Bridenstine shared his views on the Artemis Accords and how they fit in the context of the Outer Space Treaty and how they provide both countries and companies the ability to extract resources and create advances on the lunar surface. Back to that commercialization of lunar resources and lunar mission opportunities that Pascal was talking about earlier. But setting in place the framework for coordination with safety zones and ability to avoid conflict and really support the broadest possible exploration, really hope, setting the groundwork for unprecedented international cooperation. And then space leaders and senior government officials from each of the countries said a few words about their particular focus and their contributions to this great lunar exploration endeavor, starting with Megan Clark from Australia, emphasizing their ability to do remote operations and robotics based on their mining activities, remote mining activities that they perform today on Earth. Canada, of course, extending their expertise in robotic arms. Italy talking about their ability to provide habitable volumes. Japan really announcing a whole of government approach, including industry, by focusing on lunar surface activities. Luxembourg emphasizing peaceful exploration and space resource utilization. The United Arab Emirates, really advancing their contributions to understanding our world and supplying space technology and space systems engineering. And last but not least, the United Kingdom, really focusing on innovation and sustainability in lunar exploration. So, to see all of those countries signing the accords and setting the groundwork for this unprecedented collaboration, you have to believe that there will be many, many more countries announcing their participation in some shape or form in this really exciting international endeavor to, further space for peace and human progress. Very much in line with the vision of the IAF itself.
Thanks a lot, Bruce. Dear Bruce, dear Clay, thank you once again on behalf of the Federation for your strenuous work in defining today's program. And thanks, of course, also to our president to be with us at this recap session. Before closing, I would like to spend a few words on our most recent publication, the Ief Members Handbook. As you all know, one of the main goals of the Federation has always been making it easier for space people to connect. This brand new information contains really all the information about our 407 members, and we hope it will support you to get in touch easily with all our IF member organizations. You can find it on our booth. Please go into the virtual exhibition, and of course also on the home page of our brand new IEF website. Let me now close by once again inviting you all to visit our impressive online technical presentation gallery and the most interesting booth of our virtual exhibition. We will return live tomorrow at 12:50 Paris time for the final day of this IEC 2020 Cyberspace Edition. Thank you all.